Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kick Off CyberSec. So in this workshop, we will be looking into how you can get your journey started with cybersecurity. So before we get started with the workshop itself, let me just give a brief introduction about myself. Okay. So my name is Akashdeep Bhagat, and I'm the president of SOSC. I'm also a GitHub campus expert, also a DSC lead and a lead at Node School. Now, most of the people that know me more of a developer, right? And not what a lot of people don't know is the fact that my first internship was actually a penetration tester. And I've always been interested in cybersecurity ever since I first heard about it. So back from sixth class, when I heard about cybersecurity for the first time, typical hacking. After that, I became very much interested in learning cybersecurity. Now, most of the things back then, what I was doing was related to cryptography, and which is why till 12th, all I did was I was more into research and learning cryptography. It was only after first year of my college that I started going a little bit offensive. So it started back in the 12th vacations, the beginning of first year, when I started exploring offensive security more, and then attacking uh, softwares and websites. So back then I had the same question, how do I get started? So let me get you started at this point, wherever you are. So we'll see how you can get your journey started with cybersecurity. So the main question, how do you get started with cybersecurity? And the answer to that question, you see, if you're starting with development, there are some specific things which you can do. For example, if you want to get started with Java, what type of applications are you planning to make? So it all depends on that. But when it comes to cybersecurity, there isn't it gets kind of messy because there isn't quite specific things, because obviously there are different softwares, and each of these softwares require different approaches on how you are going to crack, or how are you going to gain access to them. So that's why we all get really confused on how do we get started with cybersecurity. So in order to get started with cybersecurity, how do you get started with cybersecurity? And the answer to that question is just like that, right? Doesn't matter. So whatever it is, you get started with cybersecurity the moment you think that you want to get started with cybersec. You do not need to um, learn new tools. You don't need to, you don't need really any of the specific things. It's all up in your brain. Do you want to do something with security? It's all up there. Another thing is, most of people think that you need to uh, have you need to be technical in order to get started with cybersecurity. No, it's all up to us. If we all want to contribute in cybersecurity, it all depends on us. For example, a lot of us have this habit of using the same passwords in all the domains that we have, in all the different emails that we use, in whatever websites we use the same email, right? But that's actually a very bad thing. And that is one thing where you can get started with cybersecurity by starting by keeping the website secure, by changing your passwords in each of the websites that you go. So in case you want an official start, well, here you go. So now, if you want to step into cybersecurity, well, here it is. So let's get started. Okay. Now, let's get started with cybersecurity. So we'll start with the tool called Hydra. Okay. Now, this is what a Hydra is. It's a parallelized login cracker which supports numerous protocols to attack. It is very fast, it is flexible, and new modules are easy to add. And this is the command, Hydra -L -P, and then you can give the pass list here plus the target. There are hundreds of ethical hacking workshops which I've seen through our college, or almost all the college around our country, and I believe wherever you live. So what's one thing is, people attend these workshops, all right? Now I can do the same thing. I can teach you 100 tools in this workshops. Okay, in this workshop, in whatever workshops I do, I can teach you 100 tools. And as president, I'm quite sure that I can give you a certificate as well. But I can almost assure you that none of you are ever going to use that in your life. In a real life scenario, you're never going to use those tools. Okay, I can tell you, okay, there is this, there is this, there is this, and then this is how it's done. But I'm quite sure that when it comes to real life example, when it comes to real life situation, you will never be able to use these tools, because a lot of the things are to be done with your brain before you actually start hacking things or defending things. All right. So I've got a quick tip for you all. Okay. So if you want to get started with cybersecurity, don't get started with cybersecurity. That's one of the biggest tips which I want to give to all the people who are here. So yeah, that is it. So if you want to get started with cybersecurity, just don't get started with cybersecurity. All right, then I think, yeah, I think then this workshop should end here, and I'll see you all in the next workshop where we will be teaching something else. Well, no, actually not. Okay, well, I was quite interested, and these are some of the quotes which my super seniors gave me when I was doing the same thing. Okay, I wanted to get started with cybersecurity, and these were the things which my super seniors told me. So something like, learn to make things before you break them, or first you build your stuff, man, or maybe, bro, it's common sense. You need to learn basics of stuff. All right. Now the thing with cybersecurity is, now, yeah. So the thing with cybersecurity is, well, one thing I want to make clear is, by the end of this workshop, I'm not telling you to become a developer. I'm not telling you to build the entire thing completely. What I am saying is, the domain of security requires more of your brains, and how you can be creative in approaching a problem. Okay, so starting directly with security without knowing what you are protecting or breaking is just like going into a jungle without a map. All right, so what will happen is, you will go in rounds in the same place, and you will end up in the same place. And I can almost guarantee, if you are, without knowing how HTML, CSS works, or without knowing how things are built, if you start with cybersecurity, you will keep on going in the same loops. You will never be able to crack a thing without knowing how a thing works. So one thing is, you need to learn how to make things. All right. Now, another misconception which is present in the society is, cybersecurity is, just hacking stuff and getting into domains. All right. So I want to get one thing clear: cybersecurity is not just hacking. There are a lot of uh, different domains in cybersecurity itself. Okay. So let me just give a brief about these. So in cybersecurity, there are mainly three fields. The first one is defensive. So as the name suggests, what is defensive? Defensive is pretty much where you are trying to defend your system, where you're trying to defend a particular software or a system or maybe a website. Okay, so you are on the blue team, where you are just trying to defend from the hackers. Whereas when it comes to offensive side, this is the hacking, the conventional hacking which you hear in movies or wherever it is, or wherever you look about the offensive side where hacking happens. That's the offensive side. So it's a red team, where you try to break stuff, you try to gain access to websites or maybe servers, or just to destroying stuff or whatever it is. And the third one is the research, and this is a very peaceful domain. So research, as the name suggests, research is more about learning algorithms, cryptography, and just studying stuff and trying to make it better. So one thing, whatever you want to get started with, whichever field you want to get started with out of those three, one thing you need to do is learn how things work. Okay, you need to learn how whatever you're attacking works. So three things right now which you can on this see on the screen are: you need to learn how your computer works. So you need to be clear on how things get connected to your computer, or let's say it's a Wi-Fi, how it is getting connected to your clients, or whatever it is. You need to learn how your computer works, or learn how your website works, learn how your network works. Whatever you're planning to break, you need to learn how the thing actually works. Only then you can start breaking things. On this, let me just give you an example. Okay, so the example is Wi-Fi. Okay, now this is one thing which I believe most of the people that come to me with, bro, I want to crack the Wi-Fi, I want to crack the college Wi-Fi, how should I do it? Well, first thing I want to say is don't hack your college Wi-Fi because it's illegal first, and yeah, don't do it. Okay, so but whatever it is, whatever you want to use this for, so how do you hack Wi-Fi? When this question comes, it's not just one approach that you can go when you are doing that. Okay, there are a lot of things which are happening. You need to learn how your Wi-Fi is connecting to the clients. What type of security is it using? Is it using WPA? Is it using WP2? Whatever it is using, you need to understand what type of security the Wi-Fi has. How is it getting connected? What approach are you going to take? Is it just the disruption you want to cause with the Wi-Fi? Is it just you're going to send 1,000 requests and force the Wi-Fi to drop packets? Or is it something like you want to just gain access? You want to do a MITM attack, a man in the middle attack? It all depends on what approach you are going to take in order to hack it. Or let me just give you an example of a website. Okay, so if you want to attack a website, you all need to be familiar with what is HTML, what is CSS, what is JavaScript, how backend works, how backend and frontend are connected, how are requests made. You need to learn what are the different methods for requests, what is a post request, what is a get request, what is a patch. So all these things you need to learn before you can get started with CyberSec. So get your basics clear with whatever you are attacking. So it's a Wi-Fi. So I mean, it's a website, right? So is it using a PHP backend or a Node.js backend? So all these things you should be able to understand on how you can approach your target. So it all depends on how well you are aware of the basics. Based on that, based on whatever information you could gather, it's only then that you use the tool. So in short, you use the information which you have and then you exploit it. Right? So that's pretty much what you are doing in cybersecurity domain. Now, whatever I told you, yeah, I hope it is quite clear with what you are supposed to do. You're supposed to learn stuff, and then, or along with it, you can try going with cybersecurity. So if you are learning how websites are built, along with it, you can go with your cybersecurity. Now, I'm not telling you to create a e-commerce website or a huge website. I'm not telling you that. But what I'm telling you is you need to learn how the website is actually working. Okay, so you use the information which you have and then you exploit it. All right, now I do understand that learning stuff takes time. Okay, and in this workshop, obviously, I'm not going to start teaching you web development, or I'm not going to teach you how a software is built, right? So yeah, that I'm not going to do. But what I would suggest is, well, this is not a advertisement, but yeah, for that, you can just join our workshops. Obviously, in that we can do, we usually go with the basics. So if we have our web workshop next week, so you can attend that and you will just get an idea of how website works, right? So whatever it is, you can just go to internet, you can do that as well. So now I'm going to assume that all of you have learned the basics or know how things work. Okay, so let me just say that along with learning, you are going to be doing your cybersecurity planning. Okay, you're going to try to attack the system along with your learning. So I'll just go with that. So what you need to do while you're learning how a website works is, I'll just go for the offensive side first. Okay, now steps for a successful attack. Okay, so let me just say that you are going to be building a website, or you are just going through a website. You are going through a website and you want to plan and track. So you look into the website, you see the things, you're like, okay, I know HTML. Okay, this is what's happening. It is taking the data and then it is sending to a JavaScript function, and then it is sending to the backend. Okay, so you know how things are working. So how will you do an attack on this system? So mainly there are 7 steps, which you can see on your screen right now. Okay, so there are these 7 steps. Now, obviously, all of them are not mandatory, but they can be important on whatever type of attack you are doing. But these are just 7 steps which you can use. Okay, now the first step, one of the most important steps, is information gathering. Okay, now as the name suggests, reconnaissance or information gathering. In this step, what you do is you try to gather as much information as you can for your attack. You take this information, you look into what the software is built off or what the website is doing, and accordingly you jot down some points or you gather information in your head that, okay, this is happening, so what I need to do next is I need to focus on a particular part which can have a vulnerability. Okay, now once that is done, you go to the second part, which is scanning. Now this scanning can contain, now let me say that from your information gathering, you got an IP address. So what you can do is, in the scanning part, which is the second part, what you do is you try to scan for vulnerabilities or open ports. So in case you got an IP address, what you do is you use Nmap or any tool, and then you check for ports or just go for scanning the website on what vulnerabilities you can find. And third is where your access and escalation comes. The I'm in thing which you see in the movies, the hack happened, that is the third part where the access actually happens. So when the access happens, this is where you get a hold of the target's computer, or you are into the target system. So this is where your access and escalation happens. You go through the files, you go through the server or whatever you have obtained till now. And the fourth step is exfiltration. Now, I'm quite sure that the word explains itself. What does exfiltration mean? So exfiltration is pretty much you obtain the data and you keep it to yourself. So what you would do is, for example, you get into a website. What you do is you found some data, you copy it into your machine. You copy it into your machine, and thus how data leaks happen. This is where exfiltration, they exfiltrate the data and then throw it to the public. So that's how your data leaks happen. And then fifth step is sustainment. You can get into a system, but it's important on how much time you can stay inside that system without being noticed. So that's your sustainment on how you can do that. So you need to be inside the system for as much as possible or till your objective is complete. So you need to make sure that happens, and you do not get caught being in their system. So that's also very important. Sixth part, again, not a mandatory part, but it's the assault part. So in assault, what people usually do is the disruption that is being caused. For example, when a website gets hacked, you see that some message is being thrown in front of the website, right? So for example, this website is hacked by a so-and-so thing, or things are deleted from the website. This is where the assault happens, where most of the disruption, you go full out. That's the assault part. And then you have the obfuscation. Now, obfuscation, what it means is you are trying to erase your footprints. You're trying to erase all the things that can lead back to you getting caught. This is the most important part of an attack. And I hope you all understand why. Because you can attack a system, but getting caught, that's the worst part, right? You do not want to get caught while doing an attack. So that's why obfuscation, one of the most important parts. You need to keep check on the logs if you are not being exposed anywhere or no IPs are locked in. You need to make sure that you are using VPNs, and whatever it is, the footprints do not lead back to you. Okay, so that's the obfuscation. So let me just give you all an example on this. Okay. So let's say that there is a website, okay, and then there is a hacker. So we have a website which is on look by a hacker. So the hacker is trying to hack this website. So the step one, which goes for reconnaissance. In this step, what the hacker does is the hacker is looking around the website. So finding out, okay, this website is cool. Okay, it has some functions happening, and then where is it hosted, or just trying to figure out how the website is working. So that's your step one. The reconnaissance is happening. And then there is your scanning part. So let's say that in your first part, the hacker was able to get the IP address of your website, or whatever the website hacker is trying to attack. So hacker has obtained the IP address. Now the second part comes, which is scanning. So now the hacker is trying to scan all the ports, and yeah, using Nmap, which is a tool for scanning. So scanning all the ports, and then the hacker finds out that, okay, port 22 is opened. Why is it open? Well, let's say that the developer was lazy, or the developer just opened it for the testers to test, which isn't really good practice. In the beginning, I said that it's all our responsibility, that we take cybersecurity as a responsibility of ourselves. Okay. Now the developer just opened it for the testers, right? So the testers can access port 22 and do whatever they have to do. Whatever it is, port 22 is open now. Now comes your access and escalation part. The hacker knows the port 22 is open. Okay, so the hacker connects to website by SSH, and yep, gains access. Since it's open, hacker just uses tools, cracks it, gets into the website, and now the hacker is in the system. Now the access and escalation has already happened. Now the hacker is already looking around in the website. And the next thing you know, the hacker finds MySQL database. This is where your fourth point comes in. The hacker has the data now. So what the hacker does is dumps all the data into their own machine. So all the data which was present is being copied and put it into the hacker's computer. Now the hacker is going to be in the system. So it's a sustainment happens. Now the hacker is in the system and is going to be there for, let's say, 5 more days. Okay, and in 5 days, there are 1,000 new users which have registered. Now, this data is, again, new data has come. The hacker has stayed in, again, dumps all the data into the web, into their own computer. And the next thing you know, that's hacker is suddenly feeling something is up, or maybe the port 22 might be closed soon, or just has a feeling that, okay, I should just stop now. Okay, so the hacker goes for the final steps. What the hacker does is assault. So now the hacker feels a little icky, so goes for the assault step. And what the hacker does is hacker deletes all the data in the database and leaves this message. So the hacker leaves a message that all your data has been deleted, but is safe with us. In next 5 days, we will leak your data to public. In order to avoid this from happening, send blah, blah, blah Bitcoins to that crypto, that Bitcoin address. It's a Bitcoin wallet address. So this message is just out there, okay? And all the data is deleted now, only because the port 22 was open for the testers. Now all the data is gone, and they have, apparently there is some money that the company might have to pay in order to get it back. And then also you're not sure if the money, the data is going to be retrieved. So also the disruption part. Now the hacker is messing up the website. Maybe they have already deleted the data. Now they're also just disrupting things by deleting more stuff and putting their banner on the front page of the website. Whatever it is, just does that. And then the obfuscation. Okay, the important part, the hacker deletes all the logs, all the footprints, so that it can never lead back to the hacker. Now, the only way for the company to get back is either they ask their users to message again. But I'm quite sure that none of us would like to register to a website once we know that it has been breached. Okay, so cheers. The hacker was successful. Hacker has all the data. Hacker might leak it to the public. Whatever they do, it is a win situation for the hacker. So that's there. Now, the next thing which we will do is, okay, so the next thing is defensive. Okay, now how do you protect a system? When this comes to a question on how you are going to defend the system, what we will be doing is we are going to technically do whatever we can to protect. Okay, so we might close all the ports. We might yeah, so we might do whatever we can in our coding part on how we can secure our system. And yeah, but that's not the most important part. There is something more. So yeah, so technically you can do whatever you can to protect the system, but hacks still happen. Doesn't matter what company it is, maybe Facebook, maybe Domino's, whatever it is, the hacks still happen. Okay, and why do that happen? Why do they happen? Is yeah, so regardless of all the security measures, hacks still happen. Why do they happen? Well, yeah, this is where another aspect of cybersecurity comes into play. From the beginning, I said that it's all our responsibility. So this is where permissions come into play. Okay, permissions. You need to keep the permissions minimum as possible, because most of the hacks happen when you give more permissions. Maybe you're lazy. The permissions should have been only given for the testers to access the SSH. But right now the port was just kept open for everyone to access, and which is why the hack happened. Okay, so this is where it is very important that you keep the permission to minimum in your system and whatever things you are doing in whatever software you create. All right, so it's time for a demo now. So we'll just get started. I'll just show a small demo on whatever things I said till now. All right. So I've got a demo. Actually, let me just give you all the prelude first. Okay, so whatever things I'm showing, it's a disclaimer. I had to do it. So all the things which I'm going to be showing you are for educational purposes, and getting access to unauthorized systems, software files are illegal, and you can face jail time, which depends on the region you're living in. And you should never try these without permission from the owner. Okay, so once we have that out of our way, let me just show you a real life example of just a small hack. Okay, this is a very easy thing actually. Okay, so let me just give you an introduction before I actually get into the hack. Now, I invest my money. Okay, I invest my money, and every month a certain amount of money I deposit it into a bank, and then which it transfers to a mutual fund. Okay, and after 2 or 3 days I get a statement from this bank in an email which says that how much balance I have, or how much profit or how much loss I am in. So this statement is sent to me via an email. Okay, and there is supposed to be confidential information apparently, which is why so this is how the email looks. Okay, so there is some statement of blah 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 blah, and then it says that enclose blah blah blah. So the first thing what we try to do is obviously we try to look into our mail, and we read things. Okay, and we'll try to gather some information out of this mail. Okay, so the first thing what we look here is right over here. It says that for your protection, the attached PDF file is encrypted. Okay, so we have a PDF file which is being sent to me, and it is encrypted. Okay, now let's say that I forgot my password, or it's I'm given permission by the bank to crack this PDF. Now, for your protection, the PDF is encrypted. And then the next thing what it says is it's either encrypted with your PAN, which is registered with your folio, or in case your PAN is not entered, then your PDF is going to be encrypted with your folio number. Okay. Now the email on this, this part looks all right. Okay. Now you might be guessing, okay, how can we do it? How can we crack? Right. But one thing which you can see here is in the subject of the email, in the subject of the female, there is in the email, sorry. Yeah. In the subject of the email, we are given that there is some folio number with blah, 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 blah. Isn't it kind of strange that there is so much information which is being sent in this email itself, which can make it almost so easy to crack? Okay, so I want you all to think on this one. Oh, okay, so I told you that you need to use your brain. Okay, so as I said in the beginning, we use the information which we have and then we try to exploit it. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is, let me just jot down some points before we get started. Okay, let me open a terminal. Let me just go gedit points. Okay. let's just go through this mail again. Okay, fine. So through this mail, the first thing what we got is it was an encrypted PDF, right? So we have a file. Oops. So we have a file, okay, which is of PDF form. And then next we know that it is encrypted. Why? Next thing we know that password is PAN or folio number. All right. I want you all to think. So can you guys tell me what does a PAN number look like, or what information can we use in order to guess what the password would be? I want you all to write down in the comments of what do you think might be the password to this? From the information which you have gotten. So which is, we have a PDF, we have which is encrypted. I just want you all to use your brains and tell the password. Guess the password. All right. So how does a PAN look like? In case if it's a PAN number, how does it look like? You have some alphanumerical digits. Okay. Yeah. So you have some alphanumerical password in case of a PAN. Okay. Okay. So which is something like DJXC blah blah blah, and then you have something something something, and then you have something like this. So this is how your PAN looks like, right? Okay, and then over here it says, oh, it can either be your folio number as well. What would you like to do? Would you go for a tougher thing, or you would just get the simple thing done first and then get it out of your way? Which is better? Obviously, it's getting the simple thing first and then getting it out of the way. Okay, so folio number, well, it's over here in the subject itself. They have given us a folio number, so which is a number. Okay, so there is some number which is going to be our folio number. Okay, now if I have to crack it, right, what do you think would be better? Should I go with the PAN format first, or should I check with the folio number first? So in case you want to go with a PAN format, right, if you are trying to crack the PDF, the PAN format, how many combinations can be there. So you can go with something like 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, A, and then you have to go with A, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, B, or you have to go with 0, A, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, C, and then you have to go to whatever Z, 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 and then 99999, and then Z. Okay. So there is this. Okay. So there is one way which you can go like this, or you can go with the folio number. Now the folio number always, we know that it is going to be a number. So you have to go from, let's say 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, blah, 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 till 999999999, wherever you want. Okay. Now this would have been tougher, right? Even if I go with, let's say 1, 2, and then going with whatever number I want. Right? But in the statement over here, we can see that it says that our folio number is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it says that there are 8 digits. Okay. So we're just going to scrap this. Okay. So we are not going to use this. We are not going to use this. They are of no use for us. Okay. Because over here, out of the things, if it is correct, it says that there are 8 digits in it. So what do you think is better? Maybe I can go with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you think this makes any sense? Well, I'm quite sure that it does not. Because 00001 isn't going to make any sense, because obviously, why would it be 8 digits if it was supposed to have zeros in front? Okay, now that really does not make any sense, because they could have just kept 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that. So our next guess is going to be, okay, we know that it's 8 digit, so it should start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this is an 8 digit. So our password, we are just going to be enclosing whatever password might lie in. So you have this, or it is going to be 5, 6, and then 1, 2, and then it is going to lie between this 9999998, 9999999. Yep. So this is where our password is going to lie. Now, what more information we can get from this? What's a little more information we can get from this? I want you to look at this thing. Yeah. So we have the last 3 digits, which is already given, which is 744. So that cut shorts our time. Why do we need to waste our resources doing all these checks when we know that the last 3 digits is only going to be 744? So 744, and then you have to go with 744, and then should be 1 here. Okay, because otherwise it will be the same. Yep. So after cutting short all these, oops, okay. So after cutting short all these, we understand that our password is going to lie between these value of numbers. All right. So what next? We know that our password is between this number to this number. What next? I'll tell you, if you directly got started with cybersecurity, right? I could have just shown you a tool called PDF crack. Okay. So if I tell you something like PDF crack, this is the all right. All right. If I showed you how to get started with PDF crack directly, so maybe I can just teach you how PDF crack works. So I can just tell you PDF crack -f, and then you can give your file name, which is account statement.pdf, okay, which is this file right here. If I double click on it, what's going to happen is, yeah, it's going to open. It's going to ask me for password. I can write some password. It is going to say that, okay, it is not going to log in. Okay, I cannot access the file till I have the password. I can just teach you how to use PDF crack. You can learn PDF crack. Now, what are you going to create next? It asks for a word list. Okay, so maybe what you will do is you will go to Google and you will check RockU word list, which is uh, supposed to be a very good word list from where you get a lot of common passwords. Okay, so maybe you can just go here and then download that, but I'm quite sure that you will never be able to crack a PDF that easy without using your brains. It is very important that you use your brain and you use the information that you can get before you actually start cracking. Now, after what I've told you, we have come down to such a level that we can actually, we already know that our password is going to be between these certain numbers. When before, if I would have just only taught you how to use a certain tool, you would have just tried to just beat around the bush without knowing what you're supposed to do. But right now you are quite certain about the password being in between these limits. Okay, next, I told you need to learn stuff. You need to learn how to develop stuff. Okay, so yeah, one thing I want to tell you is, before you get started with whatever cybersecurity things you are doing, you need to get at least one language in which you can write scripts. Okay, now, you know what you can do. Let's say that you know that that your password is between these numbers. Okay, what are you going to do next? You know that your password is between those numbers. What should you do? Should I go like gedit wordlist.txt, and then once this is open, I'm going to go with 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, wait, 1, 7, 4, 4, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, 7, 4, 4, and just go on writing and writing and writing till 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 8, 2, oh wait, 7, 4, 4, 4, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 7, 4. Well, you can obviously do that. Okay, there is no doubt that you cannot do this. This is not impossible. You can definitely do this. But all I can tell you is it's going to be time consuming. It's going to take a lot of time, maybe days, or I'm not sure, depending on your typing speed. It can take up to a year or maybe 2 years. I don't know. But it's time consuming. Okay, let's just say that. It is going to take time if I keep on writing manually. Okay, so this is why you need to learn at least one language in which you can write scripts. Okay, now obviously almost 90% of people I know who are into cybersec, they choose Python as a scripting language because of the library support that it has, also because how easy it is to learn. So you need to learn. You do not have to learn to develop things. Okay, I'm not telling you that you need to learn how to develop an entire application. You just need to learn how to create scripts at least. Okay, so yep, so I'm not going to waste my time here. I'm going to close my time, close this. Okay, so now inside this we have our points. Okay, which is, now we already know that our password is going to be in between this range. Let me just write that password between. Okay, great. Now the only thing which I need is a script which is going to create my word list. Gedit, and I'm going to write script.py. Okay, and now I'm going to be using Python. Okay, so I'm just going to write a comment first, and let me just say that the script oopsie, script to create a word list for my account statement.pdf. All right. So what do we need in order to create a script? What are we trying to make? So the first thing which I'm going to do is create or open a file in general. So I'm just going to write file, or maybe this f equals to open of, and then I'm going to write word list.txt, and then I'm going to open this. I'm going to go for far I and range. You can go from okay. Again, what is changing in your password here? Not here, not here. This. What is changing? You know that your last 744 is going to be constant in the end. Okay, you know that only the beginning part is being changed in all of your possible passwords. Over here it's going to be 3. Okay, in all of your possible passwords, only this is going to go. This is going to change. So okay, so this is going from 10000. This is going 10001 till it is going to be 999989. Okay, so this is the last number. So what can you do? A for loop. Okay, a for loop which is going from, how much was this? 1 2 3 4 5. So I'm gonna go with 1 1 2 3 4. Okay, till it is going to be 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so it is going from 10,000 to 99,000. And the next thing what we know is we're going to write it into a file. At this file, I'm going to be changing the format of our I because we're using integer there. And then we know that the last 3 digits is going to be 744/n. Okay, so that it goes to next line. That's it. Oops, it's not a file. Left or right, and then I'm just going to close it. Done. Now it's all right if you cannot understand. Okay, let me just explain it. So you're going to open a file. You're going to have a loop to create possible passwords and write into file. Okay, and then you're just closing. All right, so this is it. We have written a Python script. So this is why, if you cannot understand, well, you need to learn a little bit of one language at least, because even if you know C, I'm quite sure that you can understand this. If there is any doubt, you can write it in the comments. I can definitely clear it for you right now. So yeah, so over here, I'm just changing it into a string so that it gets compatible with this. So I'm just going to save it, to close it. Next thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this Python 3 script.py. Done. Well, over here we can see that our new file is created, which says wordlist.txt. And when I open this file, you can see that it contains all these possible passwords. Okay, now you could have written these many by yourself manually, which is how much? Ones, tens, 100,000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh, crore. So that's like 9 crore, 99 lakhs, 98,744. Which is ones, tens, 100,000, 10,000. Okay, so that's like 89,999. So you had to write 89,999 numbers by yourself, or you could have just written this script of how many lines? How many lines is this script? Yeah, this is like what, 1 2 3 4, or you could have just written 4 lines of script. So hopefully you get the point. Okay, now the next thing what you have to do is, this is where your tool using comes into play. Okay, now this is where your actual whatever tool you learned in different workshops which you go, or any workshop that you attend of ethical hacking comes into play. This is where I can use the PDF crack, and then using the file account statement or PDF, and then I can give my word list as wordlist.txt. Okay, now this is where I'm going to execute this command, and then I'm going to press enter. Okay, it is going to take some time. Yep, there it is. What does it say? It says that my password, let's just check this once. Okay, it says that our password is this. I'm going to copy this. Now I'll try to open my account statement. I'm going to paste this, unlock. There it is. Done. So now hopefully you get the point of how easy it becomes if you use the information which you know, rather than just knowing the tools which you have, or just not by just learning the tools, you can start doing things, right? So yes, so hopefully you all get a point, right? If you all understood, hopefully you all can write it in the comments that you did not have any doubts or you understood things. Okay. So hopefully there aren't any doubts. Learn to write scripts, at least one language which you can, and then you will be able to get forward with the cybersecurity. So yeah, use the information which you know and exploit it. So yeah, hopefully you got the point on this. And again, as I said, I'm not telling you to learn Python or C or any of the languages. I'm not telling you to learn them in order to develop softwares. I'm just telling you to learn one language in which you can write scripts so that it becomes easier for you to help you with whatever things you're planning to do. Okay, so it can be Python. You can learn how to make requests with Python, or as I just showed you, how to create word lists. If you know that a password is going to be between a certain combinations, you can do that. Okay, so it's just to make your life easier that I'm telling you. Okay. So yeah, so that was just one type of attack which I just showed you, and there are many types of attack which we have. So these are some of the examples which you can see on this screen. So there is DOS, there is DDoS, there is okay. So what is a DOS attack and what is a DDoS attack, right? Now, DOS is actually denial of service attack. So as the name suggests, denial of service, which means service is being denied. Okay. Now and when it comes to DDoS, which is DDoS, it is distributed denial of service attack. So the major difference between both is, in case of DDoS, you have various bots, or you have various different clients which is trying to connect to the same server. Okay, and then there are so many requests which are being sent to the server that the server cannot handle it, and just starts denying service. Okay? You overload the server with so many requests that the server just stops responding. And I believe we have experienced it during the result time, probably. So during the result time, we have seen how the website crashes. Okay, so that is where the website gets overloaded with so many requests that it just stops giving service. Okay. The second one is MITM, which is man in the middle attack. As the name suggests, you are sitting in between two things. So you have your Wi-Fi on one side, and then you have your phone on the other. Maybe someone's phone is being connected. What you do is you try to sit in the middle of these two, and you try to sniff on the maybe the packets you're sniffing, and then you are using whatever. So for example, this guy is connected to a Wi-Fi, right? What happens is he's trying to log into his Facebook, and you are sitting in the middle. So when he sends his username and password, what you do is you sniff it from between. So so in the end, you just get the password and username of the user which is trying to access. Third one is phishing attacks. Now, phishing attack is quite common. I have seen it happening all the time on, let's say you get that, you get those WhatsApp messages in which they say that, oh, you have won so and so amount, and log into your AWS, not AWS, sorry, log into your Amazon, and then in order to get these. So what phishing attack really is, it's like phishing, as in like fishing, the fishing in which we throw a hook and get the fish out. It's something similar. So there is a hook, okay, which is a web page of certain type, which let's say looks like Facebook. Okay, it is Facebook, but the URL says something like Facebook or something. I don't know. So it's actually not Facebook, but it's supposed to look like Facebook. So what happens is you will go into the website and you're like, okay, yeah, it looks legit. And you enter your password and username. And what actually is happening is these hackers are the ones who are getting your data. So the username and password which you entered in this website is going to be sent to the hackers instead. So that's why it's very careful to understand which is the real site and which is the fake site. Always look into the URL to see if it is legit. Another one is ransomware. Now, ransomware has been happening a lot. And these type of attacks are actually get a lot of attention because of their because of the type of attack it is. So the ransomware, what it does is it locks down your computer. Okay, it locks down your computer, it encrypts all the data, and then it asks you to pay a certain amount to the hackers in order to get back your data, in order to get the decryption key. So and also these ransomwares can spread really fast. So for example, what can happen is if in a hospital which is connected with in a network, what happens is if one of the computers accidentally downloaded, or one of the hackers just injected this ransomware in this, it can travel through the network and log down all the computers which are in the network, and then you have to pay whatever the amount is specified in the ransomware to get your data back. So that's your ransomware. And then you have the XSS attacks. XSS is quite simple attacks. Actually, it's cross-site scripting. We know that our web, or if you don't know already, the website is built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Right? We know that. So what XSS does is you try to inject a script. You try to exploit the JavaScript of the website. Okay, so you inject a JavaScript or certain script, or maybe you are using the URL in order to. So it's pretty much just using a certain script in order to cause some disruption or whatever you're trying to do. So, and then there is a password attack, which I just showed you. So it's like you have different passwords and you try to crack passwords. So that's pretty much how your password attacks work. All right. So yeah, so let me just give you an example of like how XSS attacks work. Okay, this is just another demo, which I thought I can show you just before the workshop. I thought so show it to you all. So there is this website, XSS GameSpot. I mean, XSSGameAppspot.com. So this is a really good website. When I started with this, the cybersecurity thingy, I was also, this was one of the first things which I went through on, okay, what does, or how does this work? How can I find bugs in websites? So pretty much XSS are like bugs. Okay, they're not really, they might not be a really huge vulnerability, but they can be a certain bugs which can make the website vulnerable. And yeah, so these can be fixed. If you're doing bug bounty, for example, if you want to get started with bug bounty, this is another thing. Almost, there are like so many websites which actually have these have these vulnerabilities which you can exploit. So let me just give you an example. Okay, so you can just go to this website, you can play this game kind of thing. So it's like a game. So what you have to do is you have to find the vulnerability, or you have to exploit it. Okay, so over here you have some mission description. So it says that the level demonstrates a common cause of cross-site scripting where user input is directly included in the page without proper escaping. Interact with the vulnerable application window below and find a way to make it execute JavaScript of your choosing. You can take actions inside the vulnerable window or directly edit its URL bar. Okay, so this is like your window, like your browser, and you have to do whatever you can in order to complete the mission objective. So mission objective is inject a script to pop up a JavaScript alert in frame below. Okay, so once you start the alert, you will be able to advance to the next step. Okay, so I know that I have this thing. There is code as well here. Okay, so maybe as a starter, you can just go through the code and you can see, okay, what is actually happening here. Okay, so if I type something here, let's say that I type hey and I search it, so I can see that it is saying, okay, no results found for hey. So this is one of the most common things. Almost everyone, I believe, does this if they are doing an XSS check of a website. So the first thing what you usually do is you write a script directly in whatever field there is. Okay, so over here I can just write script. Okay, and then I'm going to type alert, and then I'm going to write script. Okay, close the script. So again, you need to learn how JavaScript works for this. Only then you will understand how a script works. So I have just written the syntax. I'm going to search it, and voila, you can see that I have got congratulations, you executed an alert. So that was it. That was the answer to it. Okay. So I hope you all understood what's happening here, right? And if you didn't, yeah, that is where it comes with experience, as well as you need to learn how things are working. Okay, so there is another level. So once you're done with this, you can go to the next one. So this is your comment box. So if I type something like hey, and then I do share status, okay, it says hey is being posted here. Okay, you need to learn how you can look into the source code, gathering information. Important, very important. So over here you can see that it has the target code. So you have all these stuff here. You need to go through it. So I'll just so whenever we type something here, whenever we type something in the box, you can see that yeah, it just creates a new table. Okay, it creates a new table here, this part, and then it just shows it in the HTML. So that's what's happening. It's just JavaScript happening here. So what we can do in this case is, well, I'm just going to show you. Okay, so this. Okay, so you can see that over here in the block code, whatever I write, it is going to be posted here. Okay, in this part. What if I type a script? Let's check. I mean, that's what they're asking us to do in this, right? So they have asked the same thing here. So we'll just try to do whatever we could in the last one. So I'm just writing script, and you can see that nothing is being shown here. What if I type a, what if I do an image, right? And let me just go to some image. Okay, let me just go with this. Oh, let me just use this. Okay, so I'll just copy image location. Let me just write this. Let's see if this loads. Oh, wow. You can see that, okay, it is loading the image. Okay, so again, comes with experience. What if the image doesn't load? What if the image doesn't load? What should it do? What if I do that? Okay, this is again, quite foolish to just do this, because the next thing which I'm going to show you, that's how it can be exploited. So let's say that I just give some random number here, okay, an image. So what's going to happen if I share this? It says that it's broken. So how I can exploit this is I can write this same thing, and then if it is exploited, I mean, if it is not loading, if it is like this, if the link is broken, so I can just write on error, and then I can just give a JavaScript function which can be alert of 1, and then I can just go something like this and then try to share, and done. That's it. So you need to learn stuff before you actually get started with cybersecurity, whatever it is. And then, yeah, similarly, you can go to this. So I guess, yeah. So over here in this one, what you can see, how can you exploit this? So you can see that there are images. Okay, there isn't much happening. Once you click on these images, you can just see how the image is being changed. So you have image 1, image 2, image 3. How can you do? You can look into the target code. So you can see, okay, there is a function here which says choose tab. Okay, which says dynamically loads the appropriate image, and then it says image, and then whatever the number is. Okay, so if you look here, it says image, and then it's loading this part. So it's this thing. So if I go with 3, it's showing 3 here, which is because of this part here. If I have 1, it is showing 1 here. Okay. So yeah, so this is how we are going to, and then it's over here. You can see that it is this part is happening. How this image is getting loaded. This image is due to this line. So it says that image tag will be appended into the HTML with this. So yeah, so that's happening, and then this number is being fetched from whatever the tab we are giving. Okay. All right. Okay, great. So one thing what you can see happening here is in the URL, whenever I press on whatever frame I want. So if I go with 2, you can see that 2 is happening here. 3 is happening here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, whatever is there, this is happening. What if I try to give this? You can see that the image is broken. Can we use the previous one again? If I do something here, the image gets broken because it cannot load this part right here. Right? Because you can see that it starts with this single colon. Okay, and when I'm passing this single colon here, it's actually, yeah, it's actually closing it before here, right? And then it cannot load the .jpg in the end. So this is where I'm going to exploit it. So when you know that it is not loading, again, you can just use the on error function once again, and then you can just pass on your alert, and then give whatever message you want, close it, and let's see. All right, done. So yeah, so I'm not going to show you more because I'm quite sure you all will get bored without knowing what's actually happening. So yeah, that's a great game. I think you can just go through it once if you want to learn XSS. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. We won't be going much hands-on because obviously, as I showed you, I can just do that the entire day, but it's going to be of no use since you all need to be clear with your basics first. Also, it's really helpful if you know Linux. And why I tell it's helpful to know Linux is it's not because you cannot do cybersecurity in Windows or any other operating system. I've seen a lot of people who use Mac or Windows in order to do that, but uh, Linux is a lot of tools are available directly. Now, for example, people use Kali Linux. Okay, a lot of people have this misconception that you need to know Kali Linux or you need to have Kali Linux in order to become a cybersec person. But that's not the case because right now I'm using Ubuntu. Okay, I used to have Kali Linux, but the difference is Kali Linux already has all the packages pre-installed. Okay, but any Linux you use, you can install these packages by whatever package managing command you have. So over here, for example, if I'm using Ubuntu, I installed PDF crack by just writing sudo apt install PDF crack, and Yeah, so I think I already have it, so it's not gonna. Yeah, so pretty much I hope you can see that. Yeah, it doesn't really make big difference. As long as you're using Linux, you can use any operating system. I mean, any distribution, it's not going to be a problem, right? So maybe in the next week or in upcoming sessions, we will look into how you can get your lab set up, and we will be going full hands-on. So hopefully we will have Abhigati. If you are not sure, he was our super senior, who is also a lot into cybersecurity. So he might be taking up the next workshop, or it will be me. So whatever it is, a next workshop, we shall be looking into how to get your lab started, and yeah, just going full on hands-on. Before that, uh, there will be some prerequisites which might be there. So uh, we might be attacking web applications. So it will be really helpful if you can learn a little bit about how websites work. So index, why do I keep saying index? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you can just know how these things work, plus how backend works or front end works, whatever it is, if you can just learn that, that would be really helpful. And yeah, I think that's it for this. So there will be a feedback form which will be sent in the comments, or you can just go to the web page, the events page of SOSC, and you can just write the feedback form now. It is really helpful for me as well as the entire community when you write feedbacks for us, because it tells us where we went wrong or where we could have been better. So please do fill the feedback form, and yep, that's it.